Got it. Okay, good.
Okay, we're recording. We can start.
Yes,
And
and we're gonna send you this recording, Patrice, okay?
Okay, no problem.
Sure, okay. All right, so my excitement, it was hard for me to sleep last night and all week. My excitement level is really high right now. So let me tell you about this, how I came across Miss Stewart. I watched a YouTube video, a third-party video with her speaking about PPP loans. And she went in and I was cracking up. I was like, no, she did not say that. But I listened to the content of what she said. And I said, she is 100% correct on what she's saying. So I said, I have to reach out to this sister. I mean, she's awesome. And then I started watching some more videos of her. And I'm like, why have I never heard of this sister? She is on point. So as I did some research and watching her videos, I reached out to Miss Stewart. She reached out to me, and she has agreed to come spend some time with us at Sunday school. So I am so happy and I'm so excited. You guys are in for a major treat. This sister hails from Chicago. She's a third generation advocate. Is it 3 generations?
Yeah. Yeah.
3 generation advocate. The sister is powerful. What I love about her work is she tells you straight and raw. She has taken her mentality and she's turned it into finance. So she's showing people how to get out of this rat race and how to actually achieve success in their personal lives. All you have to do is listen to her and follow her instructions. We're looking at 17 years of experience in the finance world. Have I done my homework?
My age, yeah. We are. Yeah.
17 years of experience. So what she is going to give to us, take notes, make sure you, whatever questions you have, we're going to try and get as much in as we can. But what I want you guys to understand is that this sister, and we advocate for who we believe in. This sister is my younger sister in age, but she's my older sister in financial literacy in relation to taxes. So I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let my sister speak on who she is, why she's here, and she's going to drop a whole bunch of information and data. This is not the first time we're going to hear from her. I'm sorry, this is the first time, but it's not going to be the last time. So Miss Stewart, we want to thank you. Everybody get off mute. Give her kudos. Come on, get off mute, everybody. Shout it out.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
All right, now get back on mute. So now here's the deep part. You
Back
have
on
been
mute.
on social media for a while, but you just recently, within the past 12 months, got on Instagram and all the other social media aspects. So you were on Facebook for a while. And this is why we never heard of you. Well, this is why I never heard of you. I go on Facebook like once a month. Yes, but you're here, we're connected, we're joined. So please tell us who you are. And most importantly, my question is, why do you do what you do?
Okay. Well, one, I just would like to say thank you. I think this is the best introduction community I've been in a long time, right? So thank you, thank you, thank you. Make a sister feel special over here this morning.
Special.
So, you know, I think that intro was so well, I don't know how to explain myself after that, right? But my name is Patrice L. Stewart. I am a third generation, like Charles said, more with what would I like to say, advocate, right, for civil rights. My grandparents, both, my grandfather, Nathaniel C. Stewart, was a Tuskegee Airman, and my grandmother, Viola Louise Duval Stewart, was the first African-American woman to fight for equal pay. And she went to court with Thurgood Marshall. They went to Supreme Court and they won her case. So about 10 years ago, she got inducted to the congressional record, right, with her case. So that's my third generational history, right? That's why I say in those videos, like my grandmother's running through my veins. How many of you all have, you know, someone in history that did something great for this world. So I like to remind our African-American community that all of us have someone great. All of us have a civil rights leader running through our veins, right? Because our people built this country. So it's impossible for just Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King, you know, the same three people, no disrespect, but the same three people that they like to push on us. And it's like, you have a whole history. It's hundreds of thousands of people that led this, right? Not just those three people. And so I think a lot of our people forget that, which is kind of where we are today, right? As a community. I think a lot of people forget that you have these civil rights leaders rolling through your veins. So that's a major part of myself and my history. So I always start off with that, with my grandparents. As far as my business, right, or my background, yes, I have been in financial services a total of 17 years now. I worked in banking, accounting, and the main financial industry. But when I got let go, I worked for BMO Harris Bank for about 6 years as a banker, as well as a credit analyst. And so that's where I really learned like a lot of my credit lending background, right? But because I had access to that, I took a bigger, deeper dive into some of the classes and the courses that they allowed us to take. And so I got really heavy into learning like how finances work in this country, especially with lending, commercial lending, because with banking, it's not the same, you know. So a lot of people think, oh, it's the same, but it's not the same for African Americans. I got to see it firsthand being in banking, right? And so once I got let go from banking in 2013, I decided to go ahead full time in my company. Let me state that I had already started my company in 2008. I started P. Stewart and Associates in 2008 while I was working for the bank, right? And that was more with we doing consulting services, and then I learned the tax kind of taxes at that time. And so in 2013, when I got let go, I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna just skip playing this corporate game. I was tired of playing, you know how it is in corporate. You got to kiss behind, you got to do this and that. I'm not with all that. So I learned early on, like this not really for me. So after they let me go, I really just decided to pour 1,000% into myself and my business. And I'll say I really started my company, really started going full-fledged in like June 2013. By the end of December 2013, I had almost tripled my salary. So I was making $40,000 at the bank, right, at the salary. So, that's before taxes, all that stuff. By the end of that year, I had about $98,000. Right. And I was like, okay, let's roll. Okay. So at that point, that's when I said, okay, I could do this and I'm not going back. So I have not had a corporate job since then. I have been fully self-employed since then. Thankfully, by the grace of God, we have continued to grow. So now my office is in Chicago. We're on 35th Street in Bridgeport Arts Center, which is a really nice kind of pristine area. So I really like that because now when my clients come, they're excited to see the art space and where we are now. So that's kind of my little background.
Now, you didn't answer the question. Why do you do what you do? And the reason why I ask that is because when, as educators, as people of, as what we do, I saw in one of your videos the frustration that you have when we're trying to teach our own people about what they should know. Yeah. So share with us why you do what you do, your motivation for doing it, and what keeps you waking up every single morning to continue to fight. Because I know you're blessed and you're blessed. So tell the room why.
Okay, so I have kind of two slogans. So one is I boost mindsets, right? So I like for people to, when they come in my office thinking one way and when they're walking out, they're thinking another way. So that's kind of the feedback that I used to always get when clients would come in or meet me for the first time, and they were thinking one way, and when they left out, they were like, man, you really got me thinking, you really kind of boosted my mind. And so that's when I took that kind of slogan on, like, I boost mindsets. The other one that I have is empowering employees to become entrepreneurs. That's, I would say, is my biggest factor, because even with the whole mentorship program, the business coaching program that I'm launching, it's geared towards empowering employees to become entrepreneurs. I want more people to be entrepreneurs, to be thinking entrepreneurship, talking about entrepreneurship, because it's ownership, right? So I'll admit, I fought God for so long on this assignment. Okay. I fought God on so long on this assignment. Yes, I've been on Facebook for almost 10 years, doing lives, doing informational sessions, getting on for free, just talking, educating. I've had my Instagram page for like 5 or 6 years, if not longer, but I was not really on YouTube and TikTok. I just came this year on YouTube and TikTok in January. But the main focus, I would say, that really keeps me going is, one, here's my shirt. I'm book smart and street smart, right? I'm born and raised in the hood, grew up in the south side of Chicago in Tarrytown, which is a major area of, a lot of stuff going on. I'm gonna just say that. So for me, it's like, I see where people are in the community, but I feel like if more of us were taught finances, education on money management, things like that, we can actually take back our communities. We can take back over our communities. We can get things going and happening when people know and understand money. Because it frustrates me, yes, like you said, Charles, when I see the fact of people taking advantage of getting loans, and then you go and you're in the Gucci store, you're in Louis Vuitton, you're taking trips, you're doing the as I call it, the Negro mentality, right? The Negro mentality, you still in the hood mentality mindset. And so it's like, if we were able to start shifting some of those people and how they think and start learning money, taxes, how business works, right? Because the other thing is, with me focusing on business taxes these last 4 or 5 years, I teach and educate business owners how to take advantage of the legal tax laws and loopholes in this country. And what a lot of people don't understand is most of the tax laws and advantages in this country are in the business tax code. They're not in the individual tax code. They're not in that. They're in the business tax code, which is why so many people were upset with Trump and, how he wasn't paying taxes. And I'm like, don't get mad, get like him. Like, it's not nothing to be arguing back and forth about. It's like, either you're going to get with him or you're going to get like him. Or you're going to be on here mad on the internet arguing every day, which is what everybody was doing. And so, for me, that's what I would say is what, one that keeps me going, is even though I want to just leave and go live and be rich somewhere in Miami, I've been saying that forever, my heart, right? My heart is with the community. My heart is with my people who look like me. And so that's what helps me, get up every day, even though I'm frustrated most days, but that's what helps me get up, I would say, every day, is because I feel like my assignment that God gave me was to do this, and that's what I had to really hone in on and accept 2 years ago. In 2018, I finally accepted my assignment, right? And since then, things have definitely gotten smoother. I would say I'm not as frustrated. The client base that I have now is more understanding, is more of who I've been asking for, who I've been praying to God for, people who are ready for change, people who are listening, versus me trying to force it and push it on them. So I'm not looking to those people anymore. I'm only focused on the ones like you all who are actually, in the mindset of changing and educating and pushing our people along. But I'm not going to focus on the ones who want to stay in the Gucci store. That's it. Stay there. And we'll move on with the other ones who are ready to grow.
I agree with you, because there was a time when I was sabotaging my stuff and I was fighting my calling. And I noticed that everything I did that was against my calling, I wasn't having success. And people were telling me, you are the one. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And it wasn't until I read something and it made sense. And I was like, wait a minute. And I was blocking opportunities that was given to me that I didn't feel worthy enough. But when I shifted that and I said, okay, listen, everyone is telling you I must be the one. But I noticed that every time I'm aligned with my calling, everything's successful. Everything else just doesn't work. And no matter how much energy, or how much money I dump into it, it just doesn't work. But when I'm doing my calling, it's so simple and so easy. I'm going alongside with you. It's just making sure that we're aligned and we're following our true path and our true calling. Excellent, excellent. So I agree with you. This is why I call you my sister, because you and I are two peas in a pod. We're going to talk, but the same thing that you talk about is the same thing that I talk about. And what I notice is that when you're trying to enlighten people, they just are fighting it and they just don't understand. So what we try to do in this work, in this group, in Sunday school, is we let people know that this is not your fault. You have been designed to think a certain way. What we want you to do is we want you to look at your situation different. And when you start looking at your situation different, knowing that the school systems have designed you to think as an employee, looking at making the transition. It's not going to happen overnight, but we want you to start changing habits, simple habits. One or two things here, one or three or four things. And when you start changing those habits, you start seeing the manifestation of your work. And now you're going to say, you know what? I've been thinking this way for so long. What's going on? And it's like the movie They Live, where you had to put the glasses on to see what was going on all around the world. And then when you take the glasses off, everything's normal. So what, as you said, we're in the matrix.
We are in the matrix. I love to use that term.
We're dealing with a perception, a reality that was created by the haves to make sure that the have-nots do not equate to them. And when you look at that, it's like, wait a minute, I've been thinking wrong for so long. Let me look at the situation and what's happening. This is why when you said you can't get mad at Trump, he played the game.
He played the game.
And I'm going on record right now, they're not going to be able to get him on that because he played the game. He exposed something that the haves do not want everyone else to know.
Exactly. Exactly.
So they're upset. So now they're going to try and take him out because you're not supposed to let the masses know what we know. But
Right.
So we have you here to
Right.
talk us about taxes. So give us a quick rundown on why we need a home-based business, quote unquote business, when it comes to taxes and how that affects our wealth and our ability to keep more money in our pocket.
Okay. So I like to kind of just use myself as an example. So the property that I'm in now, I took over my family house like 2-3 years ago, probably almost 3 years now. And what I did was I purchased the property under my company name. So I set up a company, Duval Management Group, LLC, right? So I knew I always wanted to get into the real estate industry. So I set up the company early on. So when this opportunity came up for me to be able to take back over my family house that I grew up in, I immediately said, okay, let's do this deal under the company. So one of the things now, it doesn't have to be this way. You can still own your house personally. So let's just say you're a homeowner and you own your home, right? It can be under your personal name. You can have a regular mortgage under it and under your personal name. I don't want people to think that it can't be under their personal name, but I want to also share the advantages of when you have it under a business versus your personal name. Okay, because there's two ways you can write taxes off. So if it's a personal loan, so let's say the loan is in your personal name and you have a mortgage on it and you have a home-based business, right? So there is a tax write-off called, it's actually called the home office deduction. So if you have a area in your house up to 300 square feet, so it's up to 300 square feet. So we'll just say 300 square feet is the full 30%, right? So you can take up to 30% off of your mortgage payment. So if your mortgage payment is $1,000, you can write off $300 every month for the whole year for your business. Also your utilities, your ComEd, your light, your gas, right? You can write off up to 30% of that bill every month, right? And then you're taking that off and you're writing that off on the home office deduction. If you are paying for maintenance, let's say that you had something, let's say you wanted to do construction or you wanted to build out that area, right? Well, you know, if you personally did that, there's no way for you to write that off. But if you had a business and you did that and you did construction to set up you a home office, then those expenses, the cost, the labor, hiring the people to do it, everything is a tax write-off at that point. So instead of you spending $5,000 playing out of your cash and never seeing it again, at least if you had a business and you had the home office deduction, you're able to write that $5,000 off, right? So at that, like, those are some of the things that you're able to do if you did it personally under a home office deduction. So when you file a home office deduction, you do file that on a Schedule C tax form, which is attached to your personal 1040 tax return. That's where you will file the business if you are an independent contractor, self-employed, or a sole proprietor, right? So that's the form that you would use. It's the Schedule C form. And then on that form, there is a special line area called home office deduction, which actually is another form that opens up to all of those different expenses that I kind of just talked about. It's more like maintenance. So if you have lawn care services, you know, you can write that off. But that's the difference is, all because you have a business, now you're writing off your lawn care services. Now you're writing off, you wouldn't be writing off any of that under your personal name. You get what I'm saying? Like if you're just a regular homeowner, you're not writing any of that type of stuff off on your taxes, unless you were renting, unless you were like a homeowner who has a 2 or 3 flat unit. And then you're renting out, you're living in one of the owner occupied properties. If you're living in one of your units and then the other 2 you're renting out, then those clients are able to, you know, use that. But usually we fill out a Schedule E form, which is a rental income form when you actually have rental income coming in. So we really don't use that home office deduction for that. If you were if you had tenants in your building or tenants in your property, but that's a way for you to be able to write off some stuff if you had that home office to had a home office set up in your home. That's an easy way to write off some expenses without you formally having to be set up on paper and things like that. Just as long as you can prove that you have the business, you know, some type of business card, website, whatever, to show proof that you had the business. Now, if you actually have a full-fledged LLC corporation like myself, like I set up Duval Management Group, LLC. So I can write off my entire mortgage payment every month. I'm not just writing off of 300, I'm writing off the full 1,000 because one is under the business. So that business is getting income, right, from, so this is the way it's set up. I'm renting from my company, right? So I'm a renter living in the property right now. I'm paying the rent, right, which is to Duval Management Group. But then Duval Management Group is now able to write off that mortgage expense because the mortgage, I quit claim deed the property over to Duval Management Group. So Duval Management Group is now able to write off that as an expense because that mortgage payment is an expense. So the mortgage payment is written off. Any utilities that I'm paying is written off, right? Anything with the lawn care, for example, the lawn care, the maintenance, if I have my maintenance guy come in and change or replace something, I'm writing up a document, a receipt, right, for the to give to Duval Management Group, and then Duval Management Group is writing that off. So it's bigger it's a bigger write-off under Duval Management Group, because when you're an and I also want to say I'm an S Corp LLC, so I'm not a standard LLC, because when you're a single member LLC, you file your business on a Schedule C form, just like a sole proprietor or independent contractor. For me, that is not an advantage. That's what a lot of people don't understand. A regular standard LLC is not a tax advantage, right? You get the tax advantages when you are an S Corp, but you also need to qualify to be an S Corp. You're not going to automatically get there. Most people have to build up, because for you to be able to write off the taxes or the dollar amount, the business at minimum, I would say, it needs to be making like a solid $40,000 a year. Right? Because when you're an S Corp, you have to pay yourself, and you have to pay yourself an actual W-2. So it's other rules to it, but most of us will qualify. You're a US citizen, you don't have more than 100 shareholders, everything else you will qualify for. That biggest rule for the S Corp is you have to pay yourself a W-2. Now, it also has to be a reasonable income. So if you're making $40,000, you can pay yourself $500 a month. Right? And have W-2 money taken out of that. So that's the good thing, is in the tax law, it just says a reasonable. It doesn't say what dollar amount. So even when I was making 100,000 in my business, I was only paying myself like 25,000 in a W-2, right? So that's just to cover that S Corp ruling. And then any other monies that I wanted to take out, I can do an owner's draw or a shareholder's draw where I'm not paying taxes on that money, right?
You went public yet?
I'm sorry.
You went public yet?
Have I been public yet? No. Went public? No. Not yet. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the ways, and I did a video too. I put that video on YouTube where I kind of talked about that, with how people who are homeowners, this is kind of a way for you to kind of start a business or start a property management company, and your home could be the first house that your property is managing, where you're able to take, write-offs like that for the business. Because like I said, when you're under the LLC and the S Corp, it's like that Schedule C is like this one form, right? With maybe 30 write-offs. But when you're an LLC or a corporation, that's what if you're a corporation, you take those expenses. But if you're an LLC that's taxed as an S Corp, or you're a corporation that's taxed as an S Corp, you have like 15 of these, right? It's like 30 pages worth of write-offs versus 1 page worth of write-offs. So that's why I say, when people say they think it almost sounds illegal to do, but when you are reading these business tax write-offs and laws, it's like, wow, right? It's like everything, you can literally figure out a way to, like, I live my whole life through my business. I don't own nothing personally. Nothing is in my personal name. So my car that I drive, my little Audi truck, that's in my business name. My house in my business name. I don't own nothing personally, because there's no benefit to me owning nothing personally. All the benefit is in me having a business. So I have 3 businesses: Duval Management Group, TaxCred Academy, and then I have PLS Logistics, what I set up to do federal contracting. But everything is in my business names. Even when I take trips, vacations, I plan it around where I can make it a business expense. You want to set up a meeting with, you want to set up a business meeting. That's one of the easiest things to do. You want to take somebody out to dinner. You want to look at an office space. There's certain things that you can do that will make that business trip a business write-off if you do these 3 or 4 things, and now you can write that entire trip off. So like, I'll just give an example. For my birthday, I rented this huge mansion in Miami because I wanted to experience that. I said, okay, God, there's certain things that I want to experience that I know you preparing me for, right? So I spent about $14,000 for 4 days, just for 4 days, but I made it an annual meeting. I took my mother, I took my treasurer, which is my assistant, I took my event planner, and my event planner planned everything. But now, because I had all of them there, my corporate team was there. So I was able to have an annual meeting right? Because my corporate team was there. So everything I was able to write off because and I documented it. So I had a videographer there, taping, recording. I have receipts for the chef that we had a private chef come in and cook every day. Like I wanted to live it up, right? I'm like, it's my birthday. I want to experience. It was my 40th. I just made 40. And so I was like, I'm gonna make it an annual meeting. And that's what I did. So now when I do my taxes, I'm able to write off that whole $14,000, $15,000 expense. And it didn't make me feel like, oh, I came out of my pocket all of this money, because now I actually get to write it off. So that lowers my tax debt. So I'm paying less in taxes at the end of the year versus, just that money just being gone and not being able to write it off at all.
You just answered a question I was about to ask. The write-off, tell us how the write-off lowers your tax responsibility. Because a lot of people don't know what a write-off is.
Okay, right. I'm sorry. Let me say that. So, pretty much a write-off is what so it's a business term, right? And pretty much what a write-off is, it allows you to be able to deduct these purchases as long as they were used for your business. So as long as it's a business expense and is used for the business, is used in the business, then you're able to write it off. That's what a write-off is called. So it's not like some people think like, oh, it's free money. So it's not necessarily free money, because you still have to spend whatever you're spending, spending on. I still have to pay for the mansion. I still have to do all of those different things. But now, instead of that money just being gone and out the window, I'm able to utilize it in my business and take it as a business write-off, which lowers my tax liability. So if I have 100,000, now I'm able to say, okay, I spent 15,000 on my annual meeting. I spent 20,000 on my assistant, right? I spent 15,000 on my office rent. So now, if I made 100,000 in my business, I get to deduct all of that stuff. Right. And then at the end of the year, instead of me paying taxes on 100,000, now I'm only paying taxes on about 20,000 or 15,000, right? So that's what write-offs are. They help lower your tax liability in business.
Right, got it. But you have to have a business.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. You do. You have to have a business to do that.
That's the key of ownership. When you talk about the tax laws, they're designed by businessmen.
Exactly.
And we can play the game. We just have to learn how to play the game. These are things that were kept from us, again, from the haves, wanting to make sure that the have-nots don't understand. And it's funny because I look at Occupy Wall Street years ago, and I had an issue with that because I was saying to myself, if these guys understood business, they would not be out there demanding something. Here we go, demanding something from someone. And it's like, if you know how the game is played, you will understand that you can do this just as well as anyone else.
Yes.
I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, people think that you have to make $50,000 profit in your business. You can actually take a loss in your business.
Yes, you can.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. What I'm looking at is you're living a lifestyle, but it's a lifestyle that you are actually documenting and tabulating so that if you're flagged by the IRS, you can explain to them, this went here, this went there, and by law and by code, everything is legal.
Exactly. Exactly.
We look at the legal stuff. We don't do the illegal stuff.
Look, but not for taxes. We do it for some other stuff, right? But not to help benefit you in business or taxes. And that's what, because I'll be honest, like when I dug deep into Trump's taxes that got released, what was it, 2016, 2017, his loss was $12 million. Right. He had a $12 million loss, right? But he also had over 500 S corporations.
Right. Got it.
People don't understand that. 500. We didn't say one or two businesses. This man has over 500 S corporations because a lot of people don't know he rents his name out.
Right.
So Right. All of those Trump buildings aren't Trump building, right? They just bought his name. And over 50%. What did you say, Charles?
Name off now.
Yeah. But over 50% of his businesses too were real estate.
Right.
So real estate is a very volatile industry, right? One year your property could be worth $1 million, the next year it could be worth 500,000. So it's very volatile. So the expenses that you can write off in real estate, which is what I gave you some of that example for me using my Duval management group in my house. Imagine if you had skyscraper kind of real estate to write off, right? We're talking about a single family house. So when you're talking about writing off expenses for a skyscraper and more than one, right? And let's be also honest on that. He paid his wife $2 million. He paid his wife $3 million in consulting. He paid his daughter $2 million in consulting. That was a $5 million write-off right there because he paid his wife $2 million for consult, the wife $3 million and the daughter $2 million. Again, if they both have consulting companies set up, which I'm sure they do, right? That was legal.
Right.
I tell people all the time, like, you got mad again but everything, because I took a class with one of the attorneys who's on his team, one of the attorneys that I follow in my CPA management group. And I'm not a CPA, but I'm just on this group that's with tax attorneys, CPAs, enrolled agents. And this guy, he's actually one of Trump's attorneys. He has like 30 of them, but he's actually one of the firms that did the taxes. And he dug deep into everything, and everything was legal. Every single thing was legal. It was not one thing on there. And like you said, they will never get away. That's why I don't really talk about it much anymore, especially now that he's the president. There's nothing that they can do to him because everything that he did was under the business tax code. So, and that's all you have to do is just stick to the business tax code and utilize it exactly the way it's written. You won't have any trouble with getting that accepted by the IRS.
Got it. Let's go back a little bit. There's a question. How do you switch your private home to ownership to an LLC?
So that's what I was saying. I don't want people thinking that you have to formally take your personal name off and put it in a corporation name. You can do something simple like what I did, which is do a quit claim deed. Quit, Q-U-I-T, right? T, claim, C-L-A-I-M, D, D-E-E-D. If you do a quit claim deed, right, you can set the company up and you can deed your property over to the company. At that point is now you're saying that the company is managing and taking over that property. And then all you have to do is set up, the formal LLC, and then you can start writing off the expenses from there. But that's the way that you can do it. If it's in your personal name, you just quit claim deed the property over to your business. And then that way you have it on legal paper on the deed. And it doesn't have to do anything with your mortgage either. You don't formally have to send that paperwork to your mortgage company. You actually are filing that paperwork with the state of Illinois or whatever state you're in. It's going to get registered with your, by me being in Cook County, it's going to be the Cook County Assessor's Office. So whatever county your house is in, that's where that deed is going to be registered with. I mean, you can get an attorney. I did. You don't need an attorney, but if you're new to this, I would get an attorney. I got an attorney just to do mine because I just didn't have the time to do my own stuff. And you can find an attorney, I would say, for like $500, $700 that would do it and file all the paperwork and everything for you.
Got it. How much time we got? How much time are you going to hang out with us?
Oh, I'm here, however, the whole time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Tell us the importance of wealth building. And we know this already, but from your point of view, the importance of wealth building and how it affects generations to come and the thinking and the mindset. Because I saw one of your videos and you were going to talk about something, but you just talked about mindset. We all love the brother who died in the plane crash, and you played him, and it's phenomenal that when you look at this, what I try to instill in people is once your mind starts shifting, you start seeing things totally different.
Mhm.
The lens is different. And you're wondering why certain laws are passed. You're wondering why certain neighborhoods are being gentrified. And as I'm looking at this, and I'm like, if you look at everything through a financial lens, you will start understanding some of the movements. And I talk about Clinton when he deregulated almost everything.
Mm.
That had to do with money. And what we have to do is we have to understand that one of the things that we teach in Sunday school is it's not that we don't have money as a community. We were never taught how to manage our money.
Yes, how to spend it properly, use it properly.
That's where you come in. So share with us your views on the importance of wealth building and intergenerational transmission of wealth.
Okay, so again, let me thank my grandparents. Come on here, Nathaniel and Viola. So my grandparents had a trust. So they created a family trust account, right? And so one of the ways that I learned early on about wealth building was something like this, right? So my grandparents created a family trust account. And then once I was born, they started putting money up in a specific trust for me. Then when my younger sister was born, they did it for each one of us, right? So by the time we all got to college, we all had college money, right? So my college was completely paid for by my trust. I was able to, once my grandparents passed away, we all probably, walked away with like 30, 40,000. Right. And so for me, I started investing. I started investing into different things, businesses, this real estate, because I had a condo too that I had to end up letting go or getting rid of. But so that was one of the things that was able to help me do that, right? And it was because too early on, my grandparents taught us like the importance of wealth or having something, right? That if you had a property that you want to leave that property, to your kids or your grandkids, and you want to set up certain things. And then the biggest thing for me was that they were setting up a trust, because we always talk about wills. And a lot of people don't realize that the moment that you die, a will is null and void. And so my grandparents were very big on setting up a formal trust account, because with trust, everything is written in stone, it's black and white, but then also you can limit, so like one of the things that they did, because they were very big on education, because of course back then, right, that's how they were taught, was in order for you to be able to live and survive and get a good job, was you had to go to school, you had to get an education. That's the way that they were raised. And so for us, that was the stipulation that they put in our trust, was if we didn't go to college and get a college degree, we could not get access to our trust. So right. You can put stipulations on your trust, is what I like to tell parents too, especially if they have not taught their kids financial literacy. And then that way, if they leave them something, life insurance money, is not blown in the first year. Because I've seen so many people get money from their parents or their grandparents passing, and then they have nothing to show for it. It's just blown away. And I'm like, dude, you just went through 100,000 in less than a year. Like, that doesn't even make any sense, right? And that's unfortunately the sad part is people aren't educated from those family members who are setting this type of money up or setting this type of money aside. And then I've just seen it, people just blow it away. So if we start having conversations like trust and estates, right? Planning, trust planning, estate planning, because this is also what other nationalities do. They do that. They actually sit down with a trust planner or an estate planner and set certain things up for their families and their kids behind. But us also, the other part of wealth building, like you said, is a major role, and it's going to have to be an accountability piece on the people as well, which is you have to start learning and understanding, especially if you get access to people like myself and Charles and the rest of us that are on here, and you're talking to people and they're not taking heed to any of this. They have to also own them to some type of accountability, because in today's world, it's too many ways of information that's being shared and passed out here about wealth building, about trust trust and wealth estate planning that you can't just be like, I don't know anymore, you know? But for me, the biggest thing I would say is, as far as like the wealth building, it will be a factor of learning the money and having some type of budget set in place. Also sacrifice, because for myself, I sacrificed a lot of things that I wanted to make sure that I can hold on to the money to start building into other things that I wanted to do. So those will be the biggest two things for me. It will be, one, it's going to be, you're going to have to start sacrificing, and you're going to have to set up a budget, because there's no way you're going to make it or put the money into those pots where it needs to go if you don't have some type of formal budget in place.
Right. Quick question. Do you invest in precious metals, gold and silver?
So I'll be honest, because I'm the type of person that I have to really know what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm not big on the stock market or the stock exchange right now. Like,
talking about actual gold and silver.
Yeah. So even, is that considered commodities?
Oh, yes.
Right. So even that, because I don't, like, if I can't take the time to sit and focus and learn about it, me personally, I just can't put my money into it. I would love to, now, especially that I'm kind of in the place where I can sit and focus and learn more, because I've been talking about cryptocurrency and all that stuff. But yeah, so for now I'm not.
We're in New York, and it has a diamond district in New York. So we're actually able to go to certain places and purchase gold and silver. Actual silver. That's why I asked if you are doing it yet. Okay. We're gonna open up the room because I don't want to take you for myself. So Sam, open up and ask your question, Sam. Got it?
I see Sam. He's still on mute.
He's still muted, Sam.
And then ask your question.
Charles, could I ask my question second?
I'm
still formulated in my mind, my question.
Got it. Anybody else? Anybody else want to ask Miss Patrice?
Sabrina, you could unmute yourself and ask your question.
Come on, guys.
We see questions in the chat. You want to give you an opportunity to ask them. Okay.
All right, I got one.
Wayne's ready.
Oh.
Wayne has his hand raised, and then we'll get to you afterwards, Rich.
Okay.
First, can I be heard?
Yes.
First of all, this was amazing. Thank you so much for your time that you have shared with us here. My question, what are some of the actions people should take just right out the bat in regards to forming a company? I know a lot of people wait because they want to get things right and have things perfect, but what should they take immediate action on?
So when you say as far as forming it, like as far as setting it up or starting it?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the biggest things that I love for people, so let me just say this. Very good question, Wayne. The paperwork is the easiest part, you all. It's the easiest part. What you need to be focused on is, how is this business going to make money? Because so many business owners just focus on, let me set up my LLC. I'm like, do you got a business plan? Do you have a sales goal? Do you have a sales plan? How much are you going to make every day? How much are you going to make every week? No. Well, what are you even setting it up on paper for? You get what I'm saying? It's like the paperwork is the easiest part. That's the simplest, most easiest thing to do. But what most business owners don't think about is how you are going to make the money. That's the plan. So that is where I would say you want to focus on first. You want to get a sales goals. You want to have a sales goal. You want to have, I have a weekly sales goal. My weekly sales goal, and it changes. Some weeks it's 5,000. Some weeks it's 2,500. And I make my sales goals high so that I can make sure that I achieve them. So if I don't achieve it, I'm getting close to it or halfway there, you know. But you have to have a monthly sales goal. You have to have a weekly sales goal, and you have to have a daily sales goal. You also have to know who your target audience is. So I had a class that I taught where we kind of did some of these things where you want to learn who your target audience is. Because again, If you weren't told today, your friends and family is not your friend, is not your target audience. Everyone who starts businesses, especially African-American people, think, oh, my friends don't support me. Oh, my family don't support me. And they're not. They're not going to until somebody else starts supporting you and see that you somebody. Okay. But they're not your immediate they're not your immediate your immediate sales. So you want to know who your target audience. Are you targeting men? Are you targeting women? Are you targeting people from 21 to 45? What's your age range, right? What's their income? Because also you want to pay attention to who you're dealing with. Can they afford your services, right? If I'm charging $2,000 for a course, I can't talk to somebody who's in poverty. A single mother that's making $10 an hour at Walmart. She's not my target audience. Now, can she go in one of my $25 classes? Yeah. But is she going to be a client, a coaching client, a business client? No. You get what I'm saying? So those are some of the things that you want to start thinking about, because everyone is always focused on the paperwork, but that's the easiest, most simplest part. That take a day or two to set up. But once you got that paperwork, then how is this business going to start making money? But you should be knowing that first before you even put it on paper, because also that will help determine what type of business you should be in, because everybody should not do an LLC. Once I sit down and talk to you and learn certain things from you, a LLC may not work for you. If you know you got a Fortune 500 company idea, you need to be a corporation. You need to have shareholders where you can have investors coming in. You get what I'm saying? You don't need to be set up like a standard LLC. If you see yourself being an Amazon or you see yourself being a Target, you know what I'm saying? So everybody's vision is different. And that's more where I want people to focus on is the money. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I feel too, as African-Americans, sometimes we'd be like, oh, I want to help and I want to do this and I want to do that. But ain't nobody worried about helping when they go into Gucci and they go into Louis. They're not asking them for help. They spending $5,000 easy. So we got to stop putting our emotions into business. Business is business, personal is personal. I tell people that all the time. I'm not your friend right now. This business. You got my $5,000 or you don't, keep it moving. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I can't lower myself and my business and my income for people who look like me when you will spend this money easily with a white person or a white corporation. So that's my biggest point I would say for you is learn where you're going to get your money. How are you going to make your money? How are you going to make your sales? That's more important than it being on paper.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. All right, Rich, you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Okay, yes.
We can't hear you, Charles, if you're saying something.
Hold on. I speak to people and I always ask them, when you talk about price, we start negotiating. And I'm like, when you go to McDonald's, do you negotiate the price? The price is the price. Either you want it or you don't want it. And what people have to do is, just because they think they look like you and you're supposed to give them the hookup, the brother deal, it's like, wait a minute, hold on. I'm trying to get like you. No, you're not. You have to understand that this is the price. Either you want it or you don't want it. Got it. Yes. Rich, go ahead.
Okay. Patrice, thank you so much. You already answered one of my questions. I saw a video of yours a while ago about putting your house in the LLC, and today you just answered everything. But the other thing is I wanted to ask you about is banks are canceling personal lines of credit. What is the best way to go about building credit with a business? You had mentioned about an LLC that's taxed as an S corporation. Could you talk about that for me, please?
Okay, I'm trying to think. So pretty much the S corp is a tax advantage, right? That's how you get the tax advantage, because you can attach an S corp to a corporation or an LLC, right? But the S corp is what's going to give you the real tax advantages. In that law, when Trump came in 2017, he changed that law. So corporations used to pay 36% in taxes. He took that down to 21% in taxes, right? So that is part of the reason why everyone is talking about S corporations, because even as a corporation, I'm paying less taxes as you, as a sole proprietor or an independent contractor. because when you file that on a Schedule C form, you're paying about 36% in taxes. Whereas a corporation, corporation or S Corp, I'm paying 21%. So that's a 14% difference automatically with just by how you're set up, right? On how your business is set up. But the tax laws itself, the very big, deep ones, are all in that corporation and S Corp tax law and ruling, right? So it's so many of them. I just off the top of my head, and that's what I'm saying. Like when you're doing taxes, the write-offs are, you have like 30 pages of write-offs for S Corp versus when you're on that Schedule C form, you have like 30 line items. So of course, every single business is not taking the same write-offs, but you have access to a lot more to write off. And how much? Also, I'll say with that Schedule C, you're limited, right? So on an advertising form, technically what they say is you're not supposed to write off more than $400. Have we seen it? Yes, especially if you have receipts. But with a corporation, there are no limits. That's why Trump was able to pay $3 million in consulting, $5 million in consulting, and write that whole consulting off. You cannot write off $5 million in consulting on a Schedule C form because you're limited. So a corporation and the S Corp, you're not limited. There are no limits to those, right? So those are kind of like one of the benefits, I would say, one of the things that I would say.
Great. So I could actually, as a beginning, starting off a business, start off as an S Corp, and as a LLC, and then attach an S Corp to the LLC once it grows a little bit.
Correct. Because you can apply for an S Corp every fiscal year. So if we're in 2021 right now, you would have to apply for it right now for it to go into effect next year. But, and so every year you can apply. So if you 2-3 years in your LLC, you start making a solid, because that's what I said, solid and consistent income. Because if you're just not starting out, I don't recommend everybody just attach that S Corp, because if you're not going to make the money, and that rule is to pay yourself, because they do be on that, with you paying yourself. So if your income is kind of up and down, that may be hard for you. But that's why I say, like, if the business gets to a solid 40,000 in income, then you want to go ahead and apply for that S Corp, and then that way you can start taking advantage of those tax write-offs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sam, you ready? All right, take yourself off mute.
How you doing?
Good. How are you, Sam?
Okay. First and foremost, I saw some videos that you were doing on the PPP loans several months ago. So I'm kind of blown away how small a world this is and that you're here today. So I want to thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Thank you. Thank you.
My question is, currently I have a situation where I have lawsuits and multiple judgments, and I have creditors that are actively trying to take my assets and garnish my wages. So my question to you is, in your professional opinion, would it be better for me to form an LLC to protect my assets, or to use a 501c3 foundation?
What's the business that you're going to do?
What's the business I'm going to do? Legal services.
Because I wouldn't do a 501c3 unless you're planning on getting like donations or, income to cover that. Because then you're running as a non-for-profit. You get what I'm saying? So you're not really making a formal profit on it. The other thing that you could do is, if you're having issues personally, you can look into setting up a formal trust. Because what you can also do is you can set up a company, and your company can be put into a trust. And your trust owns the company, which separates you from the company as well. Now,
Really?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest, I'm just getting into this. I've known about it for years, but I've finally just found, because I wanted a Black attorney. I didn't want to go to a white attorney. I know a lot of white attorneys that know how to do this, but I finally have found a Black attorney in Florida that knows how to do this and thinks just like the white guys. Right? So I'm actually gonna fly down if I don't this month, next month, to go meet with him personally and have him set my stuff up. He works with a colleague of mine already, and he set his stuff up. And so pretty much what you can do with a trust is you can open up a trust. The trust owns your company. So I can have a trust own Duval Management Group, which takes me away as the owner. And now I become the trustee, right? And so now I'm managing the trust, and I'm not paying taxes anymore personally from the business because it's owned by the trust, and I'm just a trustee. So it's all kind of ways that you can kind of get out of, you know, being you in business and you still owning the business, but now it's owned through the trust. And with some of the stuff that you're saying, without getting too much into your business, I think that would be a good way for you to be able to run your business without any of the other issues that you have.
Does that shield you from the IRS as well?
Now, it will shield you from the IRS, but you still do need to work on those other things like the judgment. So you need to get with a tax attorney or an enrolled agent, because they can do like an offer and compromise for you with the IRS. So I had a client owe $100,000 and I sent them to an EA and they ended up paying like $9,000. So yeah, you'll definitely want to have somebody to do that depending on how much the income is. But just offhand with what you just said, that trust option with the trust owning the business will probably be the best option for you. I can give that guy's information or make sure I give it to Charles to share with you. I got to get it out of my notebook. I don't have it like written down. It's written down somewhere, but I can give you his information. He's out of Florida, and I know he works with people out of state.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, anybody else? Any other questions?
I think Sabrina had a question. Are you back on?
Sandra, you had a question?
Oh, Sandra, sorry.
Yeah, I lost it because I got kicked off. But one of them was in regards to the quit claim deed on your property, converting it from home ownership to the S Corp under that. How does that change the insurance liabilities on that property since it's now under our corporate heading?
So you can actually still have the insurance under. So say if the mortgage itself is under your name, then you still would have to have insurance, you know, of course, for the mortgage company. But then you can also get separate insurance for the business. Like I pay both. I have personal insurance on the property, and then I also have a separate policy for my business, for like business insurance. But it's included under everything because the business itself, I have business insurance for every business that I have.
Excellent.
So let them know when you're doing the insurance, you know, quote that the property, you know, that the company owns property, and they can roll that into your policy.
Okay, that's good. And Charles, can you see in the chat the first question that I have? I can't see that. I got kicked off and I didn't write it down.
I'll take a look.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks for that. That was really good. Thank you.
That's something about a quit claim deed being challenged.
No, I have it. It says, does your property insurance liability change when you convert from personal to a S Corp LLC?
That was that one. And yes, there was a quick claim deed question too, because those are easily challenged in court. I don't remember the balance, but look at that, Charles.
Okay. All right.
Well, see, that's the thing. If it's your property and your company, who's challenging it? You get what I'm saying? This is my property and I own the company. So who's challenging that? Like for me, I'm not challenging my own company. I don't have any kids, so I don't know, you know, how that will work out. The fact that you all got kids, and maybe if your kids want to challenge it. But for me, it works because I'm the I'm the owner and I'm the company. So I'm not going to challenge myself. But if you guys have kids that may do something like that, then you may want to actually look into putting it in a formal trust than doing the quick, because you can still put the quick claim deed in a trust.
Okay. Yeah, I have 7 siblings. That's why I asked that question.
Okay, yeah. If you're going to have problems with people challenging then yeah, I mean, because quick claim deed is just a one document. But if you want to put it formally to cover you, then yeah, you can put that in a formal trust, and the trust will stop that from the challenge.
Okay, that sounds really good. Thank you.
And
Okay,
while we're waiting on the next person, I did just want to add something too when Charles stated that, because a lot of you all are business owners or are planning to be business owners, right? So I do want you to understand, just like Charles said, you're going to have people that are going to come to you and try to always negotiate with you, right? But I also need you to understand these people's mental mindset, because in this United States of America, we are taught to believe that we are the minority.
right.
Right. We're talking in minority. What's the first term? What's the first part of minority? Minor. So unconsciously, a lot of people are thinking minority, I'm minor, I'm less than. So they're not going to value you as a Black business owner, one, because you look just like them. So they're not thinking, oh, let me value this person, because they already devalue themselves. You get what I'm saying? When you are constantly told that you're less than, you're constantly on the media being portrayed as thugs and robbers and killers, you don't believe, a lot of these people don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in the power of themselves. So when they come across you, they're not looking at you like, oh, you're Patrice, who's really trying to help us and do something in the community. They looking at you like, oh, you just another Black person that's trying to sell something. Let me try to, you know what I'm saying? So don't take it necessarily serious. You know, I don't want to say don't take it serious, because it's hard not to, right? But sometimes you just got to put it out there and check them. And that's what I do. Like, I tell them, especially if they come in my office with a Gucci bag, did you ask Gucci for a discount when you just spent that grand? I just seen that bag for $2,000 online. And then they looking stupid, because they've never had a professional sit there in their face and tell them that. And I'm like, did you? No. Okay, so why are you in here asking me for that? Like, don't disrespect me and my company or my business and my prices. If you can't afford it, just say that. Then go figure it out. Go do what you need to do and come on back. But I'm also okay with, because I've been in business long enough, I'm okay with not taking every client. I know that every client is not a client, and you're going to have to learn and understand that too. Every client is not a client. And I've had people come in my office, bring $5,000 cash. And I've said, no, I'm good. Take you and your drug money, or you and whatever money, your little card cracker money, you know, and go on about your business, because that energy that comes with that, I don't even want it. Right? Because 9 times out of 10, you got people, you got to learn that with people's energy, how they come in with you, how they start, if they want to come in negotiating. You're not a client of mine. And it's okay to tell people, you know what? I love you, but this not gonna work. This partnership or businessship is not gonna happen. One, you don't respect my craft. If I gotta go back and negotiate with somebody, that's not somebody that is gonna be a client of yours. So, but I just want you guys to understand kind of mentally where a lot of these people are coming from, because like he said, we have been programmed. You have been programmed to go to school, to sit at this cubicle, to sit at this, to sit at that, right? So you're programmed to be a worker bee. You're not programmed to talk to be an entrepreneur, to think on your own, that your skill set, your hands, your mind, whatever you're good at can make money for yourself, right? We're not taught that. So you just got to think about that. So I just wanted to throw that out there when you said that with those people, because I got it for so long. And that was my epiphany, was we are trained to be minor in this company, which is why I don't answer that application I don't answer that on the application. I leave that blank if that's the only option. I'm not minor, I'm not a minority, so I'm never gonna claim or write that on an application.
To piggyback on what you just said, the word minor, if you guys know that minors don't speak for themselves, someone speaks for them. So when you are constantly thinking that you are the minority, again, it's the powers that be are controlling your mindset and how you're thinking, so that you don't uproot and you don't cause damage to their property, because you will when you find out who you are and how powerful you are. That's and remember, the competition, they need to destroy the competition. And as long as I guarantee you one thing, if more of us started learning and applying these tax codes, they're going to change. It always happens that way. When we get on something, it all of a sudden starts to change because they're saying that there are too many people learning about our inner secrets. Now we're going to have to rewrite the book. And this is what they do. So that's the key of, and you know, sometimes you got to move in silence. That's
Exactly.
understand, you got to move in silence. So when people are wondering what's going on, and it's like, how did you do that? Well, you know what? I've been working on this for the past 2 years. Well, why didn't you say anything? Because I couldn't, because you guys or people weren't ready for the vision. And this is why I tell people in the group and people near me, I'm like, your work, your real work happens when everybody else is asleep.
Yes.
When they don't see you reading the books, they don't see you watching the videos, the material, they don't see you growing. And this is the part that I admire. It's like a Broadway play. You go, you see the play is what? An hour, hour and a half, but you don't see the months of preparation, the background, you don't see that part. That's the part that this group thrives on and we specialize on, is knowing that don't show me the end product, show me the process.
Right.
You show me the process, I'm guaranteed the end product. And that's the key. So now my mentor says, you need to read these 5 books. Oh, okay. If that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. And that's what we do in Sunday school, is we teach people the process so that the application to their own personal lives, they'll get the end product. I tell people all the time, just give me 3 months. Give me 3 months and your life will change. Just follow what I said and it happens. And they come back and they're like, wow. I'm like, you seem surprised. I'm not surprised. The process works. It's just that you have to change your habits and you have to get it done. And when you start changing your habits, people around you are going to be saying to you, you're different, something's going on, what's happening? And what's going to happen is you're going to learn that, again, some of those people, like you said, that you think are going to support you, they're not going to support you because their mindset is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you spending $40, $50 on a book? Well, because I need this. Because Patrice Stewart told me to get the book. So I have to get the book. And that's what it all boils down to. And we talk about the peer group and the whole thing and the support and the accountability. All of that plays a key role in who we are and what we do. Okay. So looking at the time, I'm being mindful. It's almost 1:30. We've been on.
1 second, Charles. We have a question. You can take one more from Rich. And then afterwards, Patrice, I would like for you to speak about your mentor program. I'm very interested in that.
Okay.
All right. So Rich, you want to ask your question?
Yes. Once again, Patrice, thank you. You dropped some pearls on me today that have already changed my mindset. But could you send the information about the attorney in Miami to Charles so he can put it in the room for us? That would be wonderful.
Yes. Yes. You know, let me actually look in my phone for that.
Thank you. And thank you again. And we appreciate it.
Patrice, I've been talking about you for the past 2 weeks. I'm just letting you know.
Yes. And sharing your videos to everyone too. We are very ecstatic to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. This is cool. I need to join Sunday school or something. You guys meet every week, like this is an accountability kind of group for you?
Yes, every week at 12. Yes.
Okay.
And it's really because we just really want people to get the information. How we got started was a group of us was already in a group learning about stock market and just learning the process. It's not really so much about making the money. We had to learn the process, right? You don't want to jump into these things. You don't know what you're doing. And Wayne, who is also on a call here, he started that. And we had got introduced to Charles, and Charles literally change our whole mindset in 90 days and keeping us accountable. We would meet every Thursday with him. We were doing this during the pandemic. So we had that downtime and it was like, what we're going to do with our time. And we were actually complete strangers who just had similar mindsets about building generational wealth, building Black wealth. And as we would get to fellowship, we had all these similarities of family members that lost homes, right? And why do we keep repeating these same mistakes, these generational mistakes, right? Like we can have things, but we don't know how to attain them. And then Charles hit us with the 4 pillars of wealth, and he stepped drilling number 3 with us all the time: protect yourself. And so it's like, okay, how do I protect myself? How do I protect my children? How do we stop making these same mistakes? And what don't we know? Because that's what's really hurting us, right? We're not a community that doesn't have wealth. We have plenty wealth because other communities come here to build their wealth.
Exactly.
So, who are we making rich?
Right.
The Asians and the Arabs.
Right. So and we're conditioned, we're conditioned to give our knowledge away, our power away. We're conditioned to always ask for what we already deserve or ask for what's already ours. So I started Sunday school because I wanted to put Charles on a platform to scream this to other people. Again, like you said, my family and my friends are not on these calls. It's not like they don't know about it, but I always had a different type of mindset. So I'm just excited to be around like-minded people like Charles. Charles is leading the charge, and I'm just kind of in the background making things happen, but we all work as a collective. So again, when we meet people like you, and even the way you speak, I'm from Brooklyn, you're from Chicago, and women like us and how we speak, we're not always popular, right? We're big women, we're beautiful women. So, it's like, you supposed to be quiet. No, we ain't being quiet. We got something we got to say, right? We got something we got to say. We got money we got to get, and you can, get on board or get out the way. So I was already really feeling your energy. And when Charles was like, oh, you got to listen to her videos, Charles, I speak to him daily. And I was like, we got to get her on. And Charles does what he does. And here you are. So, we're ecstatic. This is a collective. So welcome to the family. You can definitely join.
Yeah, I would, because I'm thinking of doing my program on Sunday, but it would be later in the afternoon, maybe like 3 o'clock. So I can definitely do this time frame, because this is what I like. I like this, community, like you say, people of like-minded, because it's a lot that we all can accomplish and achieve, with being on something like this. And that's why I was doing my coaching program. So I haven't launched it yet. I'm actually working on the kind of content on some of it, because what the membership is going to include. So I kind of have like a 2-part membership. So we have one side that's personal finances. So when you log into the membership, you'll have like 3 or 4 videos already on there that are like how to create a budget, how to fix your credit, stuff like that, right? So you'll have some content already in when you log in. But then I also am going to have like a business side of the membership for business owners, where we're doing the same thing, where you'll log in and you'll have a certain access to a certain number of videos. But then I'm also going to have a separate group coaching, kind of like this. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, for most business owners, Sunday would be a good day. And that's why I said we'll probably do ours like 3 to 4 or 3 to 5. But I'm creating everything now, and we're putting the website together and the landing page. So I'm supposed to be able to launch within the next week or 2, well, definitely by the end of the month. So what I could also do is give you all, or give Charles, my information for you to get on my my email list or my community code, because everybody that's in my community, I'm letting you kind of know, what's going on. You'll know first when we're ready to launch, because I'm also going to offer like a week before we formally launch to the community members. But that'll be it. So with the business coaching, we'll be doing similar to kind of what you're doing, but it'll be strictly focused around, certain business topics for business owners.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, definitely share that information. Definitely interested. We call it Get Money Sundays because we meet on Sundays at 7 as well. The All Stars group that Wayne leads. So Sundays is a good day. It's a good way to start your week, to get your mindset together. So Sundays is good. We're open to that. But whatever day you have, I'll definitely make my schedule available. So definitely keep us updated on that.
Okay, cool.
Patrice, I need a personal favor from you.
Yes.
I want you to come back at a later date. You let us know. And I want you to do a workshop with just the sisters.
Okay, I'm down. Hey, I'm down. I told you whatever you need, I'm down with it.
Know you. And I want the sisters to know you. I'm behind you 100%. I'm aside 100%. And I'm like, the sisters need to hear her voice. That's all there's to it. And brothers, don't get mad, but sisters need to talk. And I want to set that up. So we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Okay. That's funny. That's confirmation though, because my prophet lady said that I'm gonna be in a group where we need to be educating women more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely need it. So
Okay, guys. One more thing. Don't come to New York and not see us.
Look, I'm about to say, I mess around. Y'all know me. I take a trip in a heartbeat. I mess around and come out there just to come holler at y'all for a minute or something. You know, I just went to DC less than 2 weeks ago. I just drove out there for a meeting with somebody that I met on the phone. We had a really good conversation. I said, look, I need to come sit down with you. So I drove out to DC and I was out there about 4 days. And I met with the young lady, and then we went to a couple of places and looked for an event space. I actually found out about a Black country club that's in DC.
wow.
Yeah, so that was real dope. And we got to go in there and see it and visit the place, and so we're planning on hosting an event there together, her and I. So I can come out to New York now. I will pick up and come somewhere in a heartbeat.
Listen, we on board for that. I was just telling Charles, I love Chicago. I was out there with my kids in 2019. We could pick up and go to Chicago. What is like a 2 hour, not even a 2 hour flight. So you ain't said nothing. Like mine.
Yeah,
we pick up and go.
For real. I would love that though. I would love to come and sit down with y'all because I can though.
Got it. All right. Before we close out, and regrettingly, don't want to, I'm still excited. Give us your last thoughts on what you want us to take and think about until we meet you again.
Okay. So I'm gonna share with you what was shared with me because it's been on my mind. So since we're talking about wealth and wealth building, right? I did a event with the mobile home investing people who own the mobile home investing. So that's another form of a way to invest is mobile homes, right? And it's this couple, Byron and Sharnice, that I know. And Byron shared with me, he went to a friend of his went to a mastermind group with the owner of PayPal. And it was $50,000 for him to get into the room, right? But what the name of the mastermind group that day was called 300 Years. They are planning and building out 300 years. Some people are not planning tomorrow, next week. You know what I'm saying? So when he said 300 years, that hit me. Because I'm like, man, I personally don't have any kids, but even though I don't, I'm still planning and trying to build wealth and even trying to talk to my family members and friends like, hey, you all have kids to leave something to, and you're not trying to do anything, right? But for me, that really struck me when he said 300 years, that the whole mastermind was about them planning out 300 years. So they're planning 10, 20 years, 10, 20 generations, right? For today, they're planning it out. And so for me, I'm like, that's the biggest piece that I would say for us, because I had never heard that before. Never. I had never heard that before. And I was just like mind blown by it. And I was like, imagine if we started having conversations like that, 100 years, 200 years, 300 years out, where you're building, because one of the men said in that group when he stated was his grandfather set up a lumber company. Well, trees are not going anywhere. So over that, his grandfather set that company up in the early 1900s. Their family is still eating and surviving off of that lumber company. You get what I'm saying? And so these are the people that are in the room with the PayPal owner and the lumber guy, because they've had businesses or family members who set something up a century ago. and they're still living and thriving off of it as a business. So imagine if we set up companies and businesses and your kids are running them and taking over them, and they're 300 years out. You know, we don't know what's going to happen, you know, in this next generation, millennial, whatever, but just even sitting down and planning it, right? Having an action plan, but then also bringing those kids in to understand the value of maintaining the family business. Because we see so many people letting grandmama's house go, letting the family business go, and you get the little quick money. But it's like, if you were not thinking about just the money and thinking of the wealth, the longevity, the generations to come behind you, right? That's kind of how we got to be thinking. And then even when I did my crypto class last, like 2 weeks ago, a week ago, we did it the 31st. The guy who I had, Taji, that's what he said. Taji was like, many of you don't know crypto. You don't know it, you're just learning it, but you're learning it today to teach your kids, to teach your grandkids. It's not necessarily about you. It's about learning it now so that you can teach the next generation behind you so that they will be better, that they won't be struggling. So that's more really what it's, you know, for me, I want to share that with everybody, because it's like 300 years. There are people in this country that are building out 300 years, and we're wondering why we don't have wealth, you know, why our communities are lacking, because we're not having these kind of conversations.
Oh, powerful, powerful. You guys, we bring quality content to you guys, quality people, and I search for people who are just like us. And one thing about Patrice is, I thank Patrice right now because she didn't go raw. You must have had a good night last night or good morning, because I know she can go raw, and I'm not afraid of that. I like that because she's telling you in your language, listen, stupid, this is what you need to do. And this is the type of person she is. She's going to school you on how to build wealth, and she's going to speak to you on your level. And that's one of the things I like.
But I didn't have to with this group, because you guys are like me. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time when I'm talking to people, I'm talking to those people that was on the internet. So I'm like, but hey, you know, I'm like, y'all tripping, you know. But when I'm around, I feel it, the whole aura, the energy. When I'm around like-minded, I'm still being me, but I don't have to curse you out because you get it. You know, you're talking to me and empowering me and enlightening me on some things, and vice versa. But most of the time, I'm the only one in the room who's talking like this. You get what I'm saying? So it's like now I didn't have to be cursing y'all out, you know, because I'm in the room with like-minded. But most of the time when I'm on that internet, I'm talking to who we're trying to reach, right? And so that's when I get a little more extra and cursing and
it doesn't bother me. But what's funny is comments delete at a fool. Just go sit somewhere. Some of the comments are like, what are you talking about? Why? What I do is I listen to the content, and listening to your content, I was like, I need to meet this woman because she has something that I need. And your information, your database, everything that you know about taxes is what we need as a group, as a people, to understand how to build wealth, intergenerational wealth.
right.
That what we're doing today is going to affect the next generation and the generation after that. What is that? The Bible says the man prepares for his grandchildren. Is that what the Bible says? Something like that? I'm not.
Don't call me.
So a lot of the things that we do, I look at it as, for us to get better, I have to get better.
Right.
And if thought like that, imagine each individual person getting better, and then we coming together at the table at Sunday school, and we're sharing our information and knowledge. That's what it's all about. Open source, experiences, what's the bad things, what's the good things, how can we navigate through the minefield of success and come out on the other side more sane than when we walked in.
Right. No, I love this. This is dope. This is really dope.
Crazy, like what? But again, what it is, it's I look at it this way. We have to do a lobotomy. A lobotomy. We have to take out all the negative stuff that's in our head and fill it up with positive stuff.
Yeah.
Older people, it's hard to change them because they're like, I'm old dog, new. No, I'm not doing it. Okay, how does that work for you? Is that, are you, this is why youth, when you, well, not gonna go there, revolutions. But again, this is what it all boils down to. So I personally want to thank you. I'm still excited. I'm on a high. I was like, wow, we're gonna have Miss Patrice Stewart. So we're going to plan some things in the future. We're gonna stay connected. Share, if you would like Sunday school with your people, let them know that Zoom free. Just share it with them. They can hit me, put them on our email list. We're going to exchange information. I'm going to make sure that everyone has your information in the group. I'm going to make sure that. And from there, we're going to just build on what we're doing now with all of us together.
Definitely. I'm with that. I'll definitely share everything with my group too. So yeah, once we're done, we can get on and exchange everything. So yeah, I would definitely blast this out to my people because this is dope. I would love to come back and be a part of this on a weekly basis.
Our plan is to go international.
I can easily see it. Yeah.
That's all right. So I want to thank you. I will be talking to you real soon within the next 24 hours.
Okay.
LaQuania.
Thank you, Patrice. Thank you for being here. We are happy to have you as a new family member. Are you on Telegram, the messaging board?
You know, I had it for one of those things that somebody had me in, but I probably took it off my phone, but I'm familiar with it. I can get back on it.
So we just use that. It's a little more encrypted than WhatsApp. So we use that just to share information, etc. But it's not a requirement. But we are on every Sunday at noon. Just come on into the Zoom. Also, as you see, we're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. I follow you on Instagram as well, both your pages. And we also upload our information and our videos onto the IG page so we can reach more people. So we're just going to close out. We're very happy to have you. We're excited that you are wanting to come back and be a part of the team. We're going to expand Get Money Sundays. You know, I'm excited about all this. I'm learning and I'm growing, and I'm always excited to be around like-minded people, and especially when it comes to the women's piece. Oh,
yeah, we need it.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah,
That's all I have to say. Let's go.
Yeah, let's definitely connect offline.
Yeah.
We're not going to take that. So that's going to be private for you guys. Got it?
Okay.
So connecting is always great. Networking is great. So thank you for being here. Thank you everybody for today. And we'll see you next week at noon.
Thank you for having me. Okay, cool.
This was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Patrice.
Thank